Hey, it's Millie, and welcome to the Generalist World podcast. This is a show where I interview people from the Generalist World community, and we talk things like the future of work, careers, predictions, their hot takes, and really understand what their squiggly careers have looked like. So if you're a generalist who feels like they're living in a specialized world, this is the podcast for you. Tyler, welcome to the Generalist World podcast. What a long time coming, truly.
Yes, I am thrilled to be here. I think one of the funny things about this experience is that this is a very 2020s kind of friendship, relationship, community member. I joined in 2023. We only ever interacted on LinkedIn or on in Slack, and then several months in, we happened to be on on the same workshop or whatever, right? And and then very recently you came to my part of the world and we were introduced in person. That the thing that I kept saying and people were resonating when we were together in Columbus was the URL to IRL is for real. And I'm just so grateful for you and for Generalist World and the community members that you have gathered around yourself. It has been a blessing.
+1. That's a fantastic introduction. Where to go from here? I actually have an idea that I would love to try as an experiment for this particular episode because, Tyler, I know that one of your strengths is enthusiasm. And I would say one of my strengths is probably being quite enthusiastic. And I'm like, okay, you get two enthusiastic people on a call. Let's see what happens. And so,
can we wind each other up?
I think probably. And you, as an enthusiastic person, have provided me with so many beautiful threads. And of course, I've now known you for a few years, so I have some threads of my own. So I'm thinking for this episode, if anyone's feeling a little bit low energy, and if you're like, maybe life's been a bit tough this week, there's lots of things going on in the world. My goal for this episode is to lift you up. And to boost you up.
We are going to gas you up. Let's go.
Yep. And it might be a little bit chaotic. I've got all these threads, and I'm sure they will come together in a beautiful, knitted jumper or something at the end.
So I am a sailor, Millie, right? This is a braided cord.
Oh, I like that way more. Okay, the braided cord. We might have our episode name. That's great to get this done in the first 2 minutes. Tyler, what's your story? Who are you? Let's give people some context just in case they haven't come across you before.
I'm an only child who spent a lot of time with books. And I grew up into an adult who went to liberal arts, small college, played American football, and loved team sports, and then got introduced to my spouse through their best friend who happened to also have gone to that school. And my spouse is a Division I volleyball player, amazing athlete, competitor. So I identify primarily as a spouse and as a parent and a youth sports coach. I'm a software nerd and I'm a believer and a learner, right? These are the identities that I carry with me long before I'm a professional. And my professional identity is in service to those other identities.
A big breath from the listeners, because that is so rare to hear someone describe it in that way. And I know you have a really interesting way of thinking about identity. Could you talk more to that?
Okay, so another person who I connected with online first and then ended up on stage in Berlin with them in 2022. Darren Murph was the head of remote at GitLab, who got hired about the same time that I transitioned to a new career working in technology companies remotely. And I became a successful remote job seeker, worker, and leader because of the learning out loud that GitLab, and then especially Darren as someone who is a marketing writer extraordinaire, repackaged a lot of learnings that I absorbed into my life. So I talked about being a sailor, and it was inside of Darren's kind of work that I started connecting the dots between my like things that I've experienced in sailing. That's very technical, but it's also like there's a lot of interpersonal stuff, and you're kind of stuck with these other people on the boat, and like, what do you get? So like all of those things kind of like layered onto itself to build a stack of identities that I then said out loud when we were together in Berlin. Darren like grabbed hold of that and like made me say it over again, and like became this thing that I carry with me, is that I have an identity stack, right? And, you know, I know that like generalist world has embraced this same kind of phrasing of skill stacking, right? And I see that out in the space. I think that those are like really interesting ways to think about it, instead of these, T shapes and these like spiky skill set things. I mean, that might work for somebody else's metaphor, but for me, I think about, what is the hold of the ship, right? What is in the ballast of like going to keep us on like be able to capture the wind. And so yeah, I think of it as an identity stack. I think that like all of these things are interrelated and cross over and kind of like touch each other in specific ways. Obviously, in my life, becoming a parent, what was subsequent to being a spouse, and like being a team sports person was like how like I fell in love with my spouse, like these kinds of things, right? Like these are related to each other, and like being a software nerd, that shows up in my team sports. Like I am the tech guy for the high school football program that I used to teach at, right? And I think that I was even doing some of the generalist world X then Y, I'm great at blah blah, those kinds of things, like even before I joined generalist world. And that's why I resonated so much with what you and others were saying. I used to be a technology-oriented teacher, and now I am a teaching-oriented technologist.
That never gets old for me. I love it. And you've hit on something really important there, and it's kind of my gripe with like the T shape. And if T shape works for you, run with it. That is awesome. What I love about the stack is something you've just hit on, is that it's not finished. A stack in my brain, it keeps going, right? It's like, okay, let's put another stack on there. It's fine. That's expected. It's expected. You're not a finished product. And yeah, I think that's where it really resonates with me.
Yeah, I think if I'm gonna like keep going with that. So my spouse is a therapist, and I am working on becoming a more integrated person. Right? We were talking before we started recording that like, sorry, you're gonna get the real me as much as I can in this moment, because that's the only way I want to be. I don't want to pretend. I'm kind of allergic to the people that want to. Right? And I think that one of the things that this is where I'm going to cry. The thing that I am most appreciative of you and generalist world is how much you were a lighthouse signaling safe harbor for people that think this way, right? And I think that's, for me, if we're going to really go deep with the sailing metaphor, like coming into dock and like refitting for the next sortie, right? That's that identity stack. Like, okay, which thing's most important for this next stage, this next season? Okay, where the stack is it's not stuck, it's not fixed. Like we can reorder things. Like there are going to be some seasons where professional identity is going to be kind of like more important. Right? And then there's other going to be moments where like being the spouse or being the parent is going to be tip top, and just because that's the season it is.
Yeah. Can you tell me more about what it means to you to be an integrated person? Is that how you said it?
That's right. When I say that I am an integrated person, I mean those different parts of myself that I just described, like I bring those with me everywhere. They are not distinct things. Who I am as a spouse, who I am as a parent, who I am as a team sports person, as a software nerd. Like a lot of my success as a professional like come from those other identities. The lessons that I learned as the spouse of a therapist make me like a crazy way better leader. Those aren't independent, right? I'm one person. right? I mean, this is not a severance situation where like I cut off my spinal cord and implant a new brain, like when I show up at work. Like that's not how people work.
And I can see that you've got this beautiful articulation of these identities, and you've somewhere along the way you've signed this permission slip to yourself, which, like, just acknowledging that's not an easy thing to do in this world that says no, specialize, niche down, do one thing, don't have more than one identity. I know you've been thinking quite a lot about the idea of a narrow generalist, and I'm wondering if you could speak more to that.
So like the thing that I've gone deepest in my second career with is the technologist side of it, and like really being someone who can be trusted to like work with code and coding and like implementation of software tools. And the value from those kinds of projects come from actually considering the change management on the other side of those projects, because so often you'll see like very strong, technically capable people work very hard to like create something that's useful to other people, but then there is like no budget or very little budget associated with the learning and development and change management associated with new behaviors. This is the button you press. Celebrating when the button is pressed. Like showing them this is the button you press, and not like expressing that with judgment or like why didn't you know which button to press? Like it's not like this is how we're going to be successful in the future. This system is here for you. This comes from my experiences as a football coach at Fort Wayne Snyder football. I'm saying it very specifically because of the like decades of excellence that I am embodying when I express these ideas right now. Mike Hawley, Russ Isaacs, Kurt Tittman, these are not people that anyone knows outside of our community, but they are pillars of like who I am as like a professional, right? We ask these questions when we are not being successful as a team or like a specific player, right? We're saying, okay, what have we taught them how to do? Have we taught them well? And very often you can just say, nope, we haven't done that yet. And we'll just stay right there. We're going to stay on the system. We're going to stay on the instruction. We're going to stay right there. But if we can say, affirmatively, yes, we have taught them well. Now we need to ask the question, can they or can't they? And sometimes it's be like, oh, well, actually, like there's some dispositions or ability or like just capabilities that like, you know what? They're really not the right person for this role or this task or whatever, right? But if we can say, actually, they can do the thing that we've taught them well how to do, now we can talk about motivations, right? Will they or won't they? And like, if we're leading well, if we are managing well, we have taught them well, we have selected them well, and we have done the work to motivate them. And if we keep inviting them to do the thing that they're supposed to do, and they keep RSVPing no, we might need to invite them to stand and watch. And if they like are like in a team scenario, like detrimental, like we've taught them how to be a teammate, and they have the ability to be a teammate, and they won't be a teammate, they might have to be invited to not be on the team.
I think I really wanna name something that you've just done, and I see you do it maybe more consistently than anyone I know, and that is acknowledging the person. And it doesn't matter if I don't know who that person is. It's like you are acknowledging, you're like standing on the shoulders of these other people, and you're consistently shouting out, naming, acknowledging. And there is it's like you have this inherent community built within you. Does that feel accurate? Or am I off there?
Yeah, I think that is a thing that is special to me. I think you're right about that. And when I say special, it's something that other people can choose for themselves too. But I do find that this is less common, right? I'm a very online person. Like I was very successful as a remote worker like right away because I didn't treat avatars as these like disembodied heads. And it's just like a real person right there. Even the people that don't update their avatar in Slack, I imagine their face. I wish they would show up. I want to invite them to be who they are, right? But like, I'm not counting on anyone else to lean into that at all. So coming back to Columbus, our most recent time together, right? There's two people that I met there that I'd had a little bit of interaction with in our Slack, but now they are whole people when I see them on Slack. And I think that's part of what I'm saying when I'm an integrated person. Like when I comment in a thread on LinkedIn or on Slack or wherever, I really did read what you wrote. I really did think about what you said. And it's important to me that you feel seen, that somebody read it, right? So often we just kind of post into the ether and kind of fingers crossed that like somebody, anybody, right? I do. And I want you to know it, right? And I think that when I met Sarah and Jess in Columbus, like they're awesome. I didn't know that yet, but it's because they showed up as their whole selves in Columbus, right? Like that's part of what we're saying is that the magic of IRL things, right? Is that it's easier for people to be present and to be like their whole selves in a in-person environment. But I think that one of the things that why do people complain about LinkedIn, blah, 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 right? Well, the bots, yes, the bots, but also like the humans that are like kind of like putting on a front or like not, talking about the things that actually matter to them. They're just kind of posting to post, right? It's like, yeah, maybe don't do that. Like maybe if you show up as a whole person, like you're going to get to meet people. Like I cry in the airport for every one of those, kind of experiences because, like remote teams, like if you're actually working hard together and like trying to do the thing, right? And then you're together doing the thing, like that feels amazing. Yeah, like I met new people, like Carrie Andrews, right? Who, like, again, like is a testament to the brightness of your light in your lighthouse, right? Of how far it reaches and signals to people. This is where to come. This is where you can come to refit, right? And for your next sortie, you're going to have all the cordage, all the spars that you need to like make it back again, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like the antithesis of the AI slop, right? Where it's like these bot comments and where it's like this.
I report every single one of those comments. I report
Do
all
you?
of them.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't skip past them.
We need patrollers like that because I think it is the antithesis. It is saying, I am actually going to give the most valuable thing that I have, and that is my time and my energy to read this post, to consider what you've said, to engage in it in like an honest and intellectual and like human way. And gosh, like the internet just needs that. And I think when I know you describe yourself as an internet person, and I wonder if people are listening to this and are like, oh, I really want to be a better internet person, but I'm struggling. I don't want to bring my whole self to the internet. Like I'm a private person. What would you say to them? What would your advice be?
Two things. Don't be not yourself. If you're not an internet person, don't be an internet person. I mentioned being an only child and like loved my books, right? I feel like part of what was happening for me in that space was I had these parasocial relationships with characters, right? And I think that kind of carried over to the internet, but like these are real people. They aren't like fictional characters, right? This is like an opportunity to like actually meet up with your heroes, right? Okay, so here's another sports thing that happened to me. I grew up. Okay, this is so North America. This is so like just right from where I am from. So pardon me, global listeners. You'll have an analogy to something that's local, I'm sure. So Barry Sanders is one of the very greatest NFL running backs to ever have played. He is a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, like set records, right? Is like that have like yet to be broken type of player. He played for the team that was local to me. I rooted for the Detroit Lions. And in his about to be his 11th season, they got a new coach, and that new coach was like a very like militaristic kind of like drill sergeant style. In fact, he had previously coached at the United States Military Academy at West Point. So like you can just imagine the kind of like training that he might choose to do even in the NFL. And Barry was like, nope, I ain't doing that. He just retired. 11 years is a long time for an NFL running back. And I think that was the beginning of me understanding that, like, oh, this is a whole person. Like, I was like, 12 years old, like, and I was crushed. My favorite player, like, isn't going to keep playing, right? But, like, I think it was the beginning of me understanding that like, the world is a business. It has business, like situations going on. You know, who's in charge, who's not in charge, who gets to make decisions. But shout out to Barry Sanders for being like, no, I just ain't going to do that. That's not for me. You know, and I think that is a lesson that I carry forward with me. Like, I don't know if you know the internet meme from Share Zone, but the in big bold text it says, "If it sucks, you can leave. Hit the bricks." Right, and it lists all these different things that you can just leave. Right, it's like, no, you're not stuck. Like if the internet's not for you, like don't stay there. Right. If there's an AI slop in your comments, report their ass. Mute, block. Like, teach the computer to help you not have, like, fake people in your feed.
And to your point, you can leave, and maybe that will create more space to create a new stack of your identity.
I think people treat the world, treat the internet, treat social media platforms, treat their relationships, treat their life as this static, like, ossified, concrete thing that can't just be jackhammered into a new thing. Like, you're not stuck. That is a lie. That is a lie that has been spoken to you, maybe by yourself or by somebody else, and it's not true. The world is as we have made it, and it can be different if we choose different.
I love it. I'm fired up. This is great. You're getting me fired up. So this is a good sign. Okay. I want to spend the next maybe like 10 minutes doing a whirlwind of Tyler's brain. Are you up for that?
Let's go.
So I'm going to just say a couple of keywords, and I want you to give me a spiel, a minute or two on that thing. And I'm hoping to give people a big array of how Tyler sees the world. All right. Sure. Are you ready?
Let's go.
What is good sales?
Helping.
Boom.
I mean, so like I think helping people. Like, sometimes you're talking to a prospect that shouldn't be talking to you. Help them know that, and like be generous about that. Like, there's not like oh, why did you book a meeting with me? No, like I'm just here to be a mirror for you to understand your problem. Right. And to like identify that I have the medicine for your pain. And if you don't have that pain, we should just like move on with our lives. And like when you like recognize that you have that pain or maybe you never will, then let's talk again.
And for anyone interested in more sales tips, go to the episode with Ramiro. He did a fantastic episode on sales. Okay. Number 2, who are your most influential authors and why?
I'm just going to name the 3 that like I like have saved in my clipboard manager, and then I'm going to name 3 that I'm reading like recently. Okay, Great. So Brene Brown, Carol Dweck, and Priya Parker. So Brene Brown, the best, like pithiest, like most actionable version of her research is called Dare to Lead. Talking about becoming an integrated person, leader, professional. Yes, like so good. She borrows a lot from like 20th century psychology people like Carl Rogers. And so like my spouse like is a therapist, and so like I read some things with them while they were in grad school. And on Becoming a Person, Carl Rogers like rhymes super hard with Brene Brown. But this idea of being a helping professional in the therapist space like carries over into like how Brene Brown expresses like how to express power, right? And like what does it mean to be like expressing power over another person or expressing it to, with, and within others, right? And that's kind of like borrowing from this idea of unconditional positive regard and like, honoring the other person's autonomy and their like independence. Like they can, like we talked about, they can just leave, right? Yeah. They don't have to be here. They don't have to do what you say. Like they can just not, right? So like let's honor that. And then Carol Dweck, I'm sure that like maybe like her work, growth mindset, has been mentioned even on the podcast probably before. But the thing that I carry with me the most from her is the power of the word yet. Ooh. I have not learned this yet. I can't do this yet, right? If you leave off that yet, you are giving away your power to change the statement that you are expressing. And then Priya Parker, I've said this in your I take this comment like with me a lot of places. Actually, Mercer Smith is the person that like I learned it the most from. She is a customer experience leader. Like she works at a BPO called Boulder. They're a very like inclusive and like just awesome group of people. But her thing that I learned from her is that it turns out that giving a shit is really high leverage.
Love it.
Because so few people do. People are surprised when you actually care. Priya Parker is an example of how to do that in a specific way. Her book is called The Art of Gathering, and she's actually going to be publishing, I think it's The Art of Fighting or something. So, fighting in terms of like argumentative, like these are our ideas. We're gonna have some conflict. Priya's background is in conflict management, and that like launched her into like this whole like I host events and like gatherings of people that are going to argue with each other. And even if you just read the chapter titles of The Art of Gathering, you will get like 80% of the value. Like the stories that she gives are like really, really rich and like helpful. But yeah, Priya Parker is amazing. So those are the three that I would say like, oh, these are the ones like that I just keep going with me. And then 3 20th century theologians who happen to be like in the movement that was against Nazism in Germany. Paul Tillich, The Courage to Be, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Life Together, and then Reinhold Niebuhr, The Irony of American History. Unfortunately, we live in a world right now where all of those ideas are still have incredible valence on world events right now. And I think that like Tillich's Courage to Be is like incredibly nerdy. He is a theologian's theologian. So like just like be ready for it to be like full of dense like words. But yeah, like it is a comprehensive like he is known for a systematic kind of like compendium of like how to think about God. That's not this book. This is like the easiest entry into like his ideas. Because he did like a lecture series with the source material for this book is like a lecture series, and Tillich probably has a lot of the underpinnings of like what I've been speaking about up to now. Like the only being ontology, right? Being something, right, requires there to have a equal and opposite like non-being, right? So like showing up and being a real person only is existent when there is the opposite of like just like shrinking and being nothing or being not a person. And it requires you to like actively choose. Am I going to be here? Am I going to exist? Am I going to be the person I've been created to be? Here I am.
I love it. I think one of my favorite outcomes of these podcasts is most podcasts, I will get an array of book recommendations. There's a shared love of reading amongst GW members, and it just makes my heart sing.
Yeah, we are learners. We are willing to grow.
Yes, 100%. We have come to 32 minutes in, and we haven't said the 2-letter word, which is quite amazing. Tyler, what is your take on AI? I'm going to keep it broad. What is your take? Specifically as a technologist, I'm curious.
It's software. It is a machine. I think AI is the wrong phrase.
Ooh, okay. Here we go. Hot take.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's a hype cycle, right? Like they're trying to like extend the Overton window of what people are going to roll with as in terms of, so like, yeah, you're going to say that like this is going to become digital Jesus, right? It's like, no, it's not. It's just fancy software. It's transformational software that like makes a big difference. But this is me like rejecting pretension and pretending, right? It is a large language model that very accurately predicts the next token. It's a machine. If you haven't yet experienced the like short trips between non-deterministic and deterministic inputs and outputs, I haven't yet like expressed. It really is better in a table, and so like I can't say this in words here, but I think the thing that people catch on to, and maybe this is something that you've already experienced with AI, is that you've experienced the compression dynamic. You've had a transcript turn into really, really effective meeting notes. Almost everybody's experienced that. If you're a professional in 2026, you've had a large set of tokens compressed into many fewer tokens. Almost all the LLMs are amazing at that. Mm-hmm. The other thing is transformation and translation work, where it's like, okay, what token maps to another token that's like slightly different or in a specific format. That behavior is amazing. And there's the third bucket that is generation, right? Where you say few tokens and you want many tokens. That's where the slop lives.
And explain it to me like I'm 5, because that was a very logical explanation. But can you explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, what your sentiment is about AI and or LLMs? How do you feel about AI?
It is an outstanding tool in the things that it is good at. It is a terrible tool, and it is subtractive technology in the arenas that it is not good at. The reason why coding agents are so good, right, is because the fundamental loop of LLM technology is, can it be tested? Does the code run? This is not for a 5-year-old, sorry. Does the code run? And if it doesn't run, the machine can thumb down itself, right? This was a bad output. Okay, and so there's this clearly OpenAI and Anthropic spent all of 2025 running reinforcement learning loops on code generation, right? There are very few domains in which you can get instantaneous feedback about whether a generative output was good or bad. Like in lawyer land, it's going to take somewhere between 10 and 15 years for you to have a statistical significantly like outputs that can say, okay, did this set of generated words convince a judge and jury, right, enough times for us to say, yeah, this was good. Nope. Nope. Can't be done. Maybe someday we can have enough synthetic kind of guessy type stuff that like maps to historical data, but 2026 is not 1986, so who, all this stuff is which data is actually relevant or not, and now you're in the non-deterministic and non-deterministic inputs and outputs, and now it's pray and hope, so it's you got to have that human intuition, that human judgment to be yeah, this is good, or actually this, not like that, it's just whereas code is pretty straightforward of does it run?
I'm smiling because it's such a joy to see you get really nerdy about something. I just got a little glimpse into you start moving a bit more and I can see the enthusiasm coming out. So it's a real joy to watch.
Yeah, I'm kind of miss me with your complete dismissal of AI. Miss me with your overhyping it into artificial general intelligence and we're gonna transform. Yes, it is transformational technology, but to a certain point, because you can see that wasn't good. All of the free apps is why everybody hates it, right? Is because the free stuff is those products are pretty bad. They're really bad.
Thank you for getting nerdy with us. And I feel like the other end of the nerdiness is community. And I would be amiss if I didn't talk about your GW experience, because you are consistently the person who will literally stand up in the room and be like, I've got something to say. And it's just amazing. And you've been with us essentially since the beginning. 2023 was basically the beginning. I first had the idea in late 22. So it's very, very early days. What has it been like to be a GW member from the very early days until now? You've seen all the iterations, you've been there with me through it. What's that been like?
I feel like you're recruiting the kind of people that I want to be influenced by.
Interesting way of framing it.
If I didn't enjoy the way that, I was just in Atlanta earlier this week, and Robert Barris and I met up, right? Like, Robert Barris is a person that I want to be influenced by.
Same.
Shout out to Caitlin. We know you wanted to be there too. Sorry about your kid having the daycare crud. But like, I think that those are two people that like have been around for a minute too. That like, oh yeah, like you're a real one. You are also attempting to be an integrated person. You are also like saying no to jobs that suck. And then like I get surprised by the Sarahs and Jesses and the Carries that like, are in your orbit. And it's like there's this obvious connecting line there. I also think of Steph Hammer, right? And I think of more recent members that have joined, like Greg Lees, right? It was obvious when I joined that when Vera and Mila were already here, they were in other communities that I'd been in a part of, and it's like, okay, this makes sense. It's already we're in. I can jump in to the deep end and figure out how the scuba gear works as I sink to the bottom, right, of this community. Yeah, I think that those are the people that you have used your voice to draw them together. And if you're listening to this and you're considering, is Generalist World like good people? Yes. Why didn't you already join? Like, come on, y'all.
That's so funny. I was just having lunch with my husband before this recording, and I was telling him about Natalie Rodden and Nicola Earle, who just like designed this full portfolio career lab sprint. And my husband was like sitting there with like a mouth open. He was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yeah, they just came to me and they had this full program, and now they've developed this blueprint so other people can create programming inside Generalist World." And he said, "Wow, that sounds really regenerative." And I was like, yes, that is the thing that I've not really been able to describe or have a word for, but there's something about Generalist World that I felt for a long time now, for 18 months, maybe even 2 years, where it's not me. It's like the shape of it is completely all the people that you have just mentioned and hundreds more.
Yeah, let me interrupt you just for a moment. When you say regenerative, what do you mean?
Yeah, great question. I think what I hear is that a regenerative space and a regenerative community is one that is exponential, in that when I started it, I was like, oh, I would love to meet Tyler. I'd like to have one person. One person would be great. And the magic that you and I can make is awesome. Like, we could keep jamming for the next 6 hours easily. I know it. And when you add all of these extra hundreds of people, also with these beautifully diverse, squiggly, amazingly, as you said, integrated humans, then it's like, wow, I can't even predict what comes out of Generalist World anymore. It's like regenerative in the way that I don't know what the outcome is. It's like, I just know that there's going to be it's like a garden. There's just going to be, all of these different kind of plants popping up. I simply laid the bed. I might have sprinkled some seeds. Other people are bringing other seeds. And before you know it, we've got this ecosystem.
Yeah, the best societies are sustainable. And I think you showed up as someone who was not looking to build something that was a one-off or like a single attempt. You knew that there was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? And you were going to follow it until you caught the leprechaun.
Do you know what, though? I don't know if I did know there was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
It's worth trying to find out if there is one.
Exactly.
Like the idea that there might be was enough.
Oh, exactly. And like when I was at this end of the rainbow, which, we were still in the clouds and it was a bit rainy for a while there, I really liked the people that were around the rainbow. And I was like, it almost to me doesn't matter if there's a pot of gold at the end, because it's like that cheesiest thing. It's like the friends you make along the way. It's true. Like, it's true. I use the example of at our New York meetup a couple of weeks ago, someone who I just met for the first time asked me, what is your dream for Generalist World? And I usually would have this answer, which is like very future focused. And it's like, oh, well, we're going to build this empire. And I said, you know what? I'm in it. Like, I think the pot I think I'm in it. And it was such a moment to release this idea that you have to have more and it has to be bigger and it has to be something else that's anything that exactly what it is right now. And it was a moment, and I keep saying the story again and again to whoever I can, because it's a reminder that sometimes you are in it. You just need to look up.
Also, remember that if you look up and it's not that, you can just leave.
I love it. We're tying the threads together, the rope, it's coming together. I knew it would. I knew it would, because we are integrated humans. It's amazing. Tyler, we've covered a lot of topics. We've covered a lot of ground, but is there anything that you really wish you had a chance to speak about?
So, like, maybe this was hinted at as it relates to like me, like, name dropping 20th century theologians, right? But I think a core part of like why I'm willing to be disappointed by people when I attempt to connect and try to like engage with their stuff and find out is that I have a fundamental worldview and belief in the idea of eternity. That may or may not comport with your own theology, person that is listening, Millie that is talking to me. But I do know that, like, when I die, the world will persist without my physical body. And it is my eternal hope that there is a persistence of souls and, like, persons. And I don't hold on too tightly to any one person, relationship, experience, because it is my belief that there is more. And I think that's part of why you can choose sustainability and choose enough, is because I believe that God made it to be forever. That may or may not actually be the case, but damn if it isn't the best way to live.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you for everything. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for being a community member. And I mean that in the truest sense of being, of participating, of supporting, of challenging. Like, I know I can count on you to tell me the truth and to give me an honest answer and be like, Millie, how are you thinking about this? And I know that I can count on you for that. So I just wanted to say a true thank you.
Thank you.
And if you want to get in touch with Tyler, which I'm sure many folks listening will, we're going to drop all of his links in the show notes. So do get in touch. Let him know what you think of this episode. Thank you so much, Tyler.
You're welcome. Thank you.